we have Talk. So give a little round of applause for that. Talk. Aunt Bird. People heard of that? The Interning.
Yeah.
Woo, the Reunion. Woo, and a bathroom on Drake. Be sure to stay after for a quick Q&A with the filmmakers. So I'll invite the directors and any of the filmmakers to come on down and we'll do a quick Q&A. So please enjoy the program. If I can call down all of the directors or anyone representing each film.
I'm Adam Sirota, and I directed A Bathroom on Drake.
So it looks like you guys had a lot of fun making this.
We had a lot of fun.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we had Jerry Springer as the star.
Yay!
Very excited about that.
Louder!
We kind of, in 2016, I'm a director for NBC Universal, and my boss, Richard Ross, said to me, you really could do films and scripted television, but you need like a little short.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, why don't you get Jerry to help you? And he sent me a couple scripts here and there. And then my AD on the Steve Wilco show, which is one of the shows that I direct, Diane introduced me to Mark Lesser, who's the writer.
Great.
And I really liked the script.
Where is Mark?
Mark's
Yay.
there. And then I spoke to my good friend Avery Seavey, who is a business person and lawyer and real estate guy, and I said, "You want to make a film with me?" And he said he wanted to make a film with me. And then my girlfriend Erin had a friend Richard LeMay, who was the producer, and I talked to Rich, and we'd always talked about films, and it just all kind of came together, and I got some of my TV people, and he got his filmmakers.
Yep.
And
we were talking a little bit before. You said you look like a pretty professional crew. You seem to know.
yeah, we had an amazing crew, and the TV people met with the film people, and we all put it together. And he found me Paul Nichols, a great DP, and Brian, the production designer, and Nikki, the costumer. And
how long did you shoot for?
we shot for 3 days, long days. It's about 14 hours, and then we edited forever. And then we did the credits over 6 times because we kept spelling all the names wrong.
And what was the footage at the very end? Was that
The footage is
personal?
Mark's family. That's the grandpa and the actual family. That it's actually that happened to Mark, the writer. He got locked in the
So
bathroom.
personal
It's a
story.
documentary, actually.
Yeah, we moved it from. It was in Chicago, but I couldn't afford Chicago because it was a small budget. It ended up being bigger, but. So we shot it in Brooklyn. We found the house, and it was just really good. And we had like a great, Victor, my first AD, Ron, my editor. Everybody just came together, and I think it's like a great movie, and I'm really proud of it.
Oh, great. What's next for the film? Where are you going? Where else can we see it?
Well, tomorrow I have like a 7 o'clock call. I have to go direct the talk show. And we entered the film in all the festivals. Actually, my dad and his wife Lisa came up for it because they're the co-EPs for it. And we put it in about probably 15 festivals. Some of them are Oscar qualifiers.
Great.
And we're hoping that we get in. But Jonathan Lipp invited us to premiere here. And we have a big showing in a nice theater. And we're just really, really happy. And I just want to thank everybody that did the film.
Of course. Absolutely. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you, how you came upon it.
The first inspiration came back in 2013 when I was in Park at Sandes, and then I came back to Italy. I was going to shoot this short film in Italy, and then I had to stop because I decided to come here. So I said, okay, why not shoot this film here? And I'm proud of this production also because this is a New York Film Festival, and it's being shot. I had the help from all people from New York. Here, this producer, it was the engine of the project. The editor is over there, John, and of course my amazing DP, that guy, that's the guy.
Raise your hand.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom.
Is this the first view, premiere of it?
Yes, yes, because I mean, we really don't have a plan because it's just being complete.
Okay.
And it was ready.
You just finished it.
Yes, I can
Yeah.
submit this film last available date to this festival. Thank you for accepting me. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know, if you have some question or you want to know something more.
Yeah, what was the best part about shooting this?
Okay, best part shooting this. Okay, we shoot 4 days with this amazing crew, all New Yorkers. We absolutely did the best we could. We had to cut out some scene, but of course that's the destiny of every indie filmmaker. And we shoot pretty strong for 3 days, all around New York, Connecticut, upstate, plus 1 splinter day and some B-roll. But I mean, it wasn't easy, but you know, that's how indie filmmakers work. I think I draw a storyboard. It actually became a photo board. I think I have one book of 100 pages just full of pictures because I knew I could not be wrong, not even by 1 shot, because the time was super, super short. But I mean, we did it in 3 days in 1 main location, and then 1 day we went upstate in Greenpoint. Actually, the last scene with the crow, it's the view of the city in Greenpoint and some B-roll. But I have to tell, I come from Italy, and usually, I mean, I work with indie production, and I thought maybe I was thinking that I didn't know how your way was, but I have to thank you guys again because you work so hard, so fast, and that you made this project possible. Thank you. Thank
What
you.
do you feel are the differences between shooting in Italy and shooting here?
But actually, I thought there were much more differences. Actually, I felt more, because I shot something in LA as well, I think that I felt more differences between LA and New York than Milan and Rome and New York. But that's my experience. I don't want to say it applied to everything, but that's my experience.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
What's up, Big Apple Film Festival? My name is Sama Chakrabarty. I directed The Interning.
Great.
And I want to introduce you to the guy who wrote it and the lead actor, Matt Levine.
Tell us a little bit about film.
I had been obsessed with the idea of a film about American white male insecurity and anxiety, and it seems fairly topical. I brought it to Samrad, who I've known for many years.
We've been dear friends from college.
Yeah, we've known each other since college, and I knew that he wanted to develop something that dealt with Islamophobia, and that just seemed like the perfect kind of, you know, merging these two ideas of, you know, the man with you know, the white guy who is, you know, not a David Duke type, but, you know, just a sort of a you know, a guy who considers himself a good guy, who, you know, is dealing with so much of self-imprisonment, that sort of the internment. I was obsessed with that, and then bringing it into this bigger world of Islamophobia. And then that's where, you know, we just kind of were like, it got excited. That's where.
Yeah, I mean, the title, The Interning, comes from the internment in World War II, Japanese internment, and now in today's world, you know, a lot of people are.
Yes.
So I really wanted to kind of start a dialogue about, you know, what makes people paranoid, you know, with this hypermedia space that we're living in, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whether it be the people at your office.
Yeah.
What triggers, you know, fear, paranoia, and how that there's hope if you listen.
Yeah. How long did it take us to shoot or write it and then go into production?
It took the first draft probably about 3 years ago. It went through a lot of stuff, and things kept coming up, especially, I wrote it before Trump was elected. But there was just a lot of, you know, just what's happening with media. Just the film kept seeming more and more topical, and we weren't sure how specific we wanted to get with it.
Yeah. And then when you brought it to me about, you know, 8 months before production, it just continued to grow and grow and grow, and casting, and we shot in 2 days. So 1 day in interior for the law firm, and then the office, and the exterior on the other day. Have to say this, this film could not have been possible without so many of the people who came on and generously gave their time. Actors, crews, gotta say thank you to Amit Sharma, our executive producer.
Scott Uzia, Brad Uzia.
There's so many people out there, you know, you guys all know it takes a village, and this film wouldn't have happened with our dear friends and on all the support. And thank you, Big Apple Film Festival, because we wanted to make a film also about New York. Both have been living here for a long time, and so thank you, Jonathan, and everyone for letting us share.
Of course, and what's the plan for this film?
You know, we're gonna get it out there in other festivals, and hopefully online, because you know what, this is an important year that people need to see this and
Absolutely.
create that dialogue and share that dialogue, and so people can converse and find out the best solution of how we can be together.
Thank you. What I'm going to do really quickly is actually open up to the audience. If anyone has any questions for any of the filmmakers here, you may just have to project, or I can run around with the mic. Any of the actors? Any questions in the audience? You guys are a quiet crowd here.
Bueller?
Yeah, oh, one over there, go ahead.
This is for the reunion. Where did you find that great location?
I mean, we had a really, really long pre-production. I think it took like almost 1 year, Rob's, because he's also the co-writer. And we had, I think, that location was upstate, Connecticut.
Yeah, it
Or
was,
upstate in New York. I think upstate in New York. Four hours up from to New York. But we did an extensive researching for the location.
Yeah.
You want to add something?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, we ended up actually really lucking out. So one of the co-producers ended up, like Lucas said, we were looking for locations forever. And you guys know how it is. Sometimes you think you're gonna land a location, it falls through, logistics don't work out, dates change, you name it. That ended up being his family friend's farm. And we looked at it and we were like, holy crap, this is the location. It was like, even from that lone tree being out there, like that's all their land. And it was like, man, if we would have just went there first, we would have saved a lot of trips and sleepless nights. So,
May I
yeah.
add something?
Yeah, go, please.
No, because I think that, I mean, we took the time because I think my first goal was to represent a story that was talking about love and death and probably blur a little bit the line between love and death. But the second goal, and thanks to these guys, was also to make it a little bit cinematic because I already shot some film at this time. I was really, really, really picky to be. I hope I was able to, especially thanks to Dom and thanks to the editor. And John, that's why it took so long to find the right location, because I wanted to give this cinematic feeling. I mean, of course, you always have to look at the budget, but that was my goal. First the story, and second, we really try hard through the photography, and the location, the production design. I think there is the production designer is here somewhere. I don't see here, but that was our goal. Thanks.
You look beautiful now.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions? One back there.
Yeah, for A Bathroom on Drake, I was wondering about the style of the film was very 1960s. Was that difficult to, like, how much input and how much work did it take to
shoot a period.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
shoot a period
Good
for a
question.
film?
So good.
Well, you know, so when I decided to do this movie, I thought, oh, the visuals, I'm a 30-year TV director. I know everything about sets and lighting. And I was really worried about the actors. What am I going to say to the actors? I've never directed actors. I stood in the mirror and said action. I have to say action. I never said action before. And then I met Paul Nichols, who's the DP, who's wonderful. And Richard put us together, and we had a couple coffees at Edgar's on the Upper West Side. And I said, I need it to look like 1968. I don't want to use a drone for the outside. My friend Anthony owns a jib company. I'm going to bring a 30-foot jib, and I want dollies, and I don't want Steadicams, and I want it to be shot because I watched all these films in the 1960s, and I wanted it to look like we were shooting in 1960s. So then Paul says, well, what about vintage lenses? Because we shot it in 4K on a mini Alexa, And then Rich said, well, we have these guys and we're gonna find a house. And we found this house in Brooklyn. It was the hardest to find a house. I was like hyperventilating. Like I looked at all these houses online and we couldn't find a house. We really didn't find the house till like the week before the shoot. And then we found the house. And luckily, the guy didn't do anything to it for 30 years. So it looks, and then, Emmeline and Brian from the art department, they found the yellow phone, and then we had to find the bike. And so the hardest thing, and just a little, the camera guys or the ACs were all geeky, they took pictures with these, but the vintage lenses were actually the ones that shot The Godfather that we rented from Able Cinetech, which we didn't know, and we think it's true, but we acted like it was, so everybody took pictures. But the lenses and the way that Paul lit it really made it look the way that we wanted it to look. And then Nikki, our stylist, wardrobe person, when I met with her, my Papa George used to wear this sweater, I just remember it. And he had these slippers, and every time we would go visit him, he had like these brown slippers with the open back, and he had like a sweater, and I was like, you know what?
Got 'em.
I know you do. And I have the hearing aid for you, Jerry. And, I decided that I really wanted to be 1960s, and to answer my long answer is, it was super hard. It was very hard to prop it. Avery, who was in charge of all the finances, it completely blew the budget out of the world. In my next life, I'm going to own a picture car company because they brought in fire engines and police cars and all those cars. And, it was just really, really hard to do, but with this great team, we pulled it off. So.
Yeah, great. Perfect. One last question, just for time's sake here. Go ahead.
I have a question for Jerry. How hard was it to transition from being a talk show host to an actor?
Come on up here, Jerry.
I'll let you know when I'll let you know when I become an actor. No, I don't know how to act. Sadly, that was me. That's exactly how I talk to my grandson.
So you drew on personal inspiration there.
Oh yeah, and we've all been there. But these other movies, I was blown away. It's like all of a sudden being stuck in the bathroom didn't seem so bad. So congratulations to all of you.
You too.
Thanks for giving me a chance to do this. It was fun to do it.
Thank you, guys. Okay, thank you so much for being here. That's about all the time we have because we have another program coming in. One more round of applause for everybody. Thank you.
We'll have to Photoshop them.
Quite the